Alright, in this video what we're going to be modeling is a power strip. So here's an image of it. This is some of my reference pictures of the power strip that we're going to be modeling. And we're going to be modeling this inside of Maya. So I'm just going to close that. We're going to be using this top picture here, image_0150. Has our reference image so we can kind of get the general shape of the object. So I'm going to go back into Maya, I'm going to hit spacebar, and we get this 4-view setup here. So if I just turn off the grid here, you can see that this is the top view. And if I go up to view and go down to image plane on that Pacific viewport, then we would go import image. Then I would basically figure out where my reference pictures are and navigate to them, and then load up the one that I want, which is this one. And if I turn the grid back on, what you'll see here in the top view is this darkened black line. That's the center of the grid, basically. So I just need to adjust the reference image so that it is aligned to the center of that black line. And to do that, if you look over on the right side of your screen, you should see image center here. We have 0, 0, and 0. This is X, Y, and Z control. So I'm going to change the last one here to -1.25, and that is going to move it exactly where we need to have it. Now you can tinker with your settings if you need to, but -1.25 in the Z-axis does it for me. So I'm going to get started modeling now. So I'm going to start out with a cube, and I'm going to turn off my grid in the perspective viewport here. I'm going to hit 6 for shaded view, and I'm just going to scale this. I'm going to use the top view rather than the perspective for this here, and I'm just going to select some of these vertices and move them around like this and like that. Okay, so now we have the general shape, but not really. If you take a look at, let me pull up the reference here. It's probably hard to see in this photo, but you see that this is its widest area, and as you go further to the left, this actually becomes smaller over here. I actually didn't notice that at first when I started modeling this, but yeah, it actually becomes smaller with its width. So I need to make some adjustments in the viewport here. Just grab these vertices, and let's see, I'm probably going to make a cut right here. So I'm going to go Edit Mesh, Insert Edge Loop Tool, put an edge loop, I'd say about here. And then I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to select these vertices, and I'm going to scale them inward a little bit. Not too much though, probably about that much. And now I just need to make sure that the height of this is for the most part right. So I'm going to take a look at my reference pictures here. Let's see, this one's probably a decent one to be looking at. Okay, so I need to get the general height, and then we're going to have this part here which is going to be a little bit higher, and that sort of a slant there. Okay, so I'm actually going to go into my top view, and I'm going to insert an edge loop, and I'm going to put it, let's see, right here. And then I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to pull it up. Okay, so that slant isn't all that high. Probably right there is what I'm thinking. Okay. I'm just going to move this up a little bit higher. Alright, so I'm going to select these bottom faces. And okay, I have one face selected that should not be selected. Take a look at the reference picture, and I'm going to try to gauge this the best that I can. Okay, I think that is about right. Now I'm just trying to get the general shape of our power strip here. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. So now I'm just going to go into a top view here, and I'm going to select this top face right there. And I'm going to hit the Extrude tool. And I want to extrude, I want to scale this in just a little bit in the Y and X axes, like that. And if you take a look at the reference picture here, let's see which one shows it best. Okay, this one. Right over here, we have this intrusion, or this this indentation, I guess you would call it, or extrusion. Doesn't really matter. You pretty much see it here. That's what we're trying to go for. So what I'm going to do is this face here, I'm going to extrude again, and we're going to extrude just a little bit, because that's not a very, you know, deep extrusion there. So just a little extrusion like that. And I'm going to turn on the shaded wireframe view. Now I'm going to take a look at the top view here, and I think I could actually make some adjustments here. I'm going to select these vertices, scale them in a little bit. Okay. Select these vertices, push them over a little, scale them in. Then I'm going to go up to Edit Mesh and go Cut Faces tool, and I'm going to start to make some cuts around each one of these outlets here. I want them to be extruded upwards a little bit, and you see the slots for plugging it in there. That's going to be textured on, so I'm just going to go at this little edge here, and I'm going to make sure I select this as an object and go back to that tool. Go back to the Cut Faces tool, and I'm going to cut right there, right there. I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut right there, cut there, and keep going and keep cutting. Okay. Takes a little while to put these cuts in here, but there we go. Okay, so now I just need to put some cuts along the top edge right there. So I'm just going to go to, let's see, this one here, and I'm going to make a cut along horizontally like that, and then at the bottom here, make a cut like that. Okay, now I'm going to go into perspective view, then I'm just going to select these faces, and we're going to use the Extrude tool up in our toolbox, or in our shelf here, and we're just going to extrude this up, and I'm going to actually snap the extrusion to this vertex here, so its height matches this vertex, basically. Now if we took a look at our reference images, what you'll see is that these little outlets, this surface here is exactly the same height as this surface. So that's why I snapped it to this surface's vertex. Okay. Alright, so if we take a look at our reference pictures here, what we'll see is that, well, this one's a good one. We've got this bevel here on the outlet, and then we've got this bevel over here. So to get that, I think I've got an idea. What I'm going to do is just delete the faces around the outlets. This will make beveling the outlets quite a bit easier. And what I'll probably replace it with is just a plane that's at the same level. So that's going to actually save us quite a bit in terms of the number of polygons that we have on our model. And it's going to look exactly the same, and it's going to allow us to bevel these outlets very easily. So I'm going to select all of these corner edges on every outlet. Definitely, it's going to be a little bit tedious to get all of them, but I feel like this is the I'm not going to say best, but it's a good way to go about getting these bevels that we need in this particular case. So I'm just going to keep rotating my camera around. Hopefully nobody is getting dizzy. Okay, we are almost there. Just one more outlet to go. And then I'll be able to apply the bevel. I'm going to go up to Edit Mesh and down to Bevel. And now that beveled very nicely. So I'm going to look at the top view here. And what we're going to do is, you can see the bevel on the outlet there. I can adjust the offset over here to get it right about over there, and then I can turn up the segments and adjust that offset a little bit, and look at how perfect that is. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is actually bevel these corners over here. So if we take a look over here, I would need to bevel this edge and this edge, and then the other edges on the other side. But what we see here is that if I beveled this, we would have a problem with overlapping on top of these edges. So I'm going to need to clean up my model a little bit. I'm going to double click this edge here to select all the edges along with that edge loop, and I'm going to hit the delete button, and then I'm just going to delete the vertices like that. Make sure I got them all. Okay, so I cleaned up that area. I'm going to select this loop again on the left side, hit delete, and then delete those vertices that weren't connected to anything. Okay. Alright, I'm going to hit save. And then I need to clean up this edge here, these two edges. So this edge loop, I'll delete that, delete the vertices, and I forgot to grab that edge right there. So I'm just going to clean up these edges, delete the vertices that are left behind. Okay, let's look on the other side. And I'm going to select that edge loop right there. Because when I do bevel this edge, it is going to overlap with this one because that bevel is a pretty big bevel. Okay, so I'm going to hit delete and delete the vertices there. So now I can go over here and select those edges that we needed to bevel based on the reference image here. I'm going to select them on the other side. Okay. Select that edge. And then I'm going to grab that edge right in there. And I'm going to take a close look over here. And I'm going to hit the Edit Mesh button up here and go down to Bevel. And then go into Top View. And I'm going to adjust the offset here. 0.3. Number of segments. Let's change that to about 3. Okay. So I'm going to adjust that offset a little bit more. 0.45, 0.46 is probably going to do the trick. Now, it actually left this face right here. I'm just going to delete that face and delete that one. Then go over to the other side. Delete that. Delete that. Turn off the wireframe shaded view. Okay. Those bevels look pretty good. I'm going to turn back on the wireframe shaded. And if we take a look at the reference picture here, let's see, which one is it? This one? We probably need to actually bevel the top surface of each one of these outlets. So I'm just going to select all the faces that belong to it. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is delete this edge. These edges, these 4 edges on every outlet. I'm going to delete them. I'm going to delete these edges. I'm going to delete these edges. Delete those edges like that. And I'm going to do this for every one of the outlets. Then over here, delete these edges. Make sure I got them selected. Okay, now I'm going to select each one of these faces. And I'm just going to pull it down just a little bit like that. And then I'm going to select all those faces and extrude up like this. And I'm going to snap that face onto here. And I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Bevel. And I'm going to bevel this to a 1 with the offset. And then I'm just going to select all the vertices on my model here because we have some stacked vertices. I'm going to go over to Edit Mesh, go down to Merge, open up the little box here, and the threshold, I'm going to put an extra 0 there to make sure it's only merging stacked vertices. Hit Apply. Okay, it merged them up. Alright, so what I want to do now is actually select this edge loop around the model, and if we take a look, I'll show this to you. I'm going to turn off the wireframe shaded. Okay. This edge here is just too hard. need to make it a lot less hard, so I'm going to bevel it. So I'm going to select that edge loop around the around this area here. And this isn't going to be like a huge bevel. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh Bevel, and I'm going to change the offset to about 0.2. Should do the trick, because that edge was just a little too sharp. Okay, 0.2 is probably going to work for me. So now if we take a look at the reference pictures again, we'll see that we do have a lot of rather big bevels all over the model here. So we've got these hard edges here that I need to actually bevel. So I'm going to start selecting some of these edges here. I'm double clicking to select a loop of edges just so I can get the selections a little bit quicker. Okay, let's take a look at the reference. The bevel runs up here and it goes across there, so I'm going to select this edge right there. And this is going to have a bevel, but it's going to be a really small bevel, so I'm going to have to come back to that. And I'm going to select these up on the top, and the bevel goes around the back like that. And it's pretty much everywhere, the bevel, except for on this edge. So I need to select these edges, and I think that's everything. Okay, and you see that it's all pretty much the same type of a bevel there, running across, except for this one edge. So I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, go down to Bevel, and let's try to get this bevel correct. So I'm going to mess around with the offset in the top view. It's probably like a 0.6. 0.6 looks like it's about right, so if I go into perspective, 0.6 is probably going to do the trick. And I'm going to put 3 segments on there. Okay. I'm going to go normals, soften edges. Looks like we have a little problem area over here that we're going to need to patch up. But overall, that's not too bad. So I think I'm actually okay with it. Let's go back to the bevel here. It's 3 segments. Let's take a look here. It could be a little bit bigger. It could be 0.65 like that. 0.65. Okay. That looks about right to me. I'm okay with that bevel. So now I just need to clean up the model a little bit. So if I take a look over here, what I'm going to do to try to clean this up is, let's see, how am I going to go about this? I think I'm going to delete these 2 edges, and I'm going to take this vertex and snap it to that vert, and bring this in, snap it to that vertex. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Snap it to about there. Okay. I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to select these edges and just delete them for now. Just going to select these edges here, delete them. Forgot one there. Delete those, okay. soften those edges. And what I actually need to do is go up to Edit Mesh, Merge, and that's going to merge all the stacked vertices. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for over here. I'm going to select these edges, delete them, select these edges, and delete them, and now I'm just going to hit Save. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take a look at this area here. I'm going to, let's see, what is wrong with these faces? I'm going to go up to Edit Mesh. I'm going to merge any stacked vertices. I'm going to select this group of edges, go soften edges, that's not it. I'm going to take a look in the side view here. And okay, I think I see the problem. I'm just going to delete some of those faces. That actually fixed it, I believe. Okay, it didn't really. I'm going to delete that face. And then I'm going to just extrude this and snap these vertices to about there. I'm just going to do this for each one. So a little bit tedious, but there's definitely something that went wrong there. And this should fix the problem. Okay, just snapping them like that. Delete that one. Extrude this edge. Snap these vertices like that. Select that face. Extrude again. Snap them like that. And let's select this area and just go Edit Mesh, Merge, and then normals, soften the normals, and there we go, we cleaned up that. Okay, now I'm just going to create a plane and go under Inputs, Polyplane 1, and change these subdivisions to 1. This is going to be our surface that goes right around those buttons, or the, outlets. So, all we need to do is select the y-axis here, and we're going to look for the vertice. Let's go wireframe shaded so you can see this. I'm going to grab this vert here, and I'm just going to snap that right into there. Then I'm going to make sure this is the right size. Okay. Alright, so now we just have one face in there instead of a whole bunch of faces like we had before. And that's just about right. Okay, so I'm just going to hit Save, turn off wireframe shaded. So yeah, now we actually got a surface in there instead of it just being see-through. Okay, next I'm going to work on modeling this button here. So I'm just going to go into my perspective, and I'm going to create a cube, and then I want to go in my top view actually, and move this cube over the button, and I'm going to scale it so we can get about the size of the button there. Okay. That should be about right, like that. I'm going to go into a side view, and you know what? We actually can just delete this bottom face here because it's not going to be visible. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to scale it like that, and drop it down a little bit. Take a look at the reference pictures here, and let's see. Do I have a good one of the button? Okay, this is a good reference picture here. So, okay, it's got sort of this flat area right there at the bottom. Then we would have an extrusion like that, a little bit higher up, like there, and I would just scale it because there's a little bit of an angle there. So I'm going to try to get that angle. Okay. Okay, let's just make sure that this looks right. Okay, that's a little too high. Thinking about right there maybe. And then we have this little hole where the button would be. So, does that look right? I guess that does look right. I think once we get this little hole in here, it's going to look better. So I'm just going to select that object there, and what we're going to do is go in the top view and go up to Edit Mesh, and I'm going to go Cut Faces tool, and I'm going to make a cut right there. I'm going to make a cut right there. I'm going to make a cut right about here, and right about there. Well, actually, let's see if I can get this. Okay, that looks right. So now I'm going to see if I can adjust this just a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to move this over just a tad. Okay, that looks right. I'm going to select this face here. I'm going to hit the Extrude tool. I'm going to extrude this down, and we're going to go down to about there. And then what I'm going to do is select these edges, and we're going to give it a little bit of a bevel. So I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, and we're going to go Bevel, and I'm going to adjust that offset. Just want it to be a slight bevel, like a 0.1, let's go 0.15. That should do the trick. And then I'm going to select these edges here, and I'm going to go to the bevel option, and I'm going to go 0.15. Actually, let's make this 0.1. And then these edges around here, same thing, go here, make that about 0.1. Okay. Turn off wireframe unshaded. Okay, that doesn't look bad. Those edges just looked too hard before, so I'm just going to go into a side view here and tweak this. I'm going to move these up to about there, so that height of the surface here is a little bit less. I still think I could, well, okay, I guess that looks fine. Alright. I'm actually going to change this material back to just the regular Lambert for now. Now, if we look at our reference again here, we got this here, and it's offset to this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up to Create Polygonal Primitives and use Cylinder. Then I am just going to rotate this about 90 degrees. Go into Top View. Move this to about the area. Set it up about like that. And just bring it down. Well, I do want to delete the faces that are here. Well, okay, let's see. I'll delete both ends. Then I'll just pull it down. And we'll try to get this looking somewhat right. Let's offset to the side. Okay. Now I'm just going to select this edge loop here, extrude, like that. Extrude again, inward. Soften up these edges. Well, actually I'm going to select these two edges here. Harden those. Okay. Then I'm going to create another cylinder. Rotate it about 90 degrees. Go into I'd say probably this view right here. Well, let's see. I need to change my view. Okay, right there. So, I'm going to go into this view. I'm going to align this, or scale it down a little bit for now, and then try to align it to the center of the other cylinder and scale it up to about there. Pull it out, and it fits perfectly. So I'm just going to make the chord here, like that. Let's take a look at the top view. Now I can also just delete these internal faces, and then I can also delete the other ones over here. And I am just going to cut some points along there and rotate like that for now, just to give it the look as if it is a chord. So there we go. There's our chord, which, you know what, I want to make that a little bit longer. Let's see. Probably rotate these a little bit. So I can make a cut right there, and there's better ways to do this with curves. But for now, this is going to do. Okay, don't want to spend too much time on this. Alright, so that doesn't look bad. At least to me it doesn't look too bad. I think I did pretty good on that. Okay, so the last thing I want to do so I can wrap up this video on modeling this power strip is get that button in there. So I'm going to create a cube in the top view here. I'm going to move it about over to there. I'm going to scale this, make sure it fits about in there. Let's bring this up. Okay. about like that, I think. And I'm just going to scale this down just a tad, maybe. Just about like that. Okay. So this will be our switch, and I'm going to try to keep this switch pretty simple. We're just going to take one end here and scale that down like that. If we take a look at the reference pictures, okay. So take this edge here, bring it up a little bit more. And then I'm going to delete this bottom face here after I bring it up a little bit like that, and then delete it. I'm going to select all the edges on this, and I'm going to go Edit Mesh, Bevel, and I'm going to play with this offset here and make it about 0.3 with 2 segments. Then actually, let's see what I could do here. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Cut Faces tool, and make it cut about there. I'm going to bring this up a little bit like that. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to pull it in like that, I think. And that should be good for the button. We can also put some materials on that if we want. I'm going to go in the Hypershade here, and I'm just going to throw out a blend for the, call it the switch, throw it on there, change the color of it to slightly red. Well, not quite slightly, but it's definitely red. Now I'm going to use another blend that I'll throw out. Whoops. Throw out a blend. Rename this. I'm going to call it. I'm just going to call it black for now. Okay. And I'm going to change the color to about like that. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to continue to put some materials on here. I'm going to throw out another blend here, and I'm going to call it surface underscore M. Put it on the general surface here. Take a look at our reference pictures. Okay. And I'm going to change this color up a little bit. I think this is a, let's see, let's have a brighter picture here maybe. It's a bit dirty though too. So, the chord looks exactly the same color as the surface here. So I'll just throw that on there. Alright, so this is what it looks like. I made some minor tweaks. I didn't want this video to be too long. But yeah, that's what it looks like so far. I just made some tweaks to the button here, and I did a little bevel on this edge loop here. And then I just beveled this little socket for the chord. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to, you can also subscribe to my channel, which would be pretty cool.